We'll go ahead and call this take 3. Can't seem to find the right lighting around here. Anywho, thermostatic expansion valve. I know that's the fancy way to say it, okay? Thermal expansion valve, or TXV. That's what we're going to talk about today. A little short video. What I'm doing today is rebuilding a TXV. There's very good reasons I'm not replacing this, okay? I even got the whole TXV. I just took the new one apart, yanked the guts right on out over, okay? Stuck it in a new one, called it a day. So there's a lot of pieces and parts. I say a lot. There's not really that many pieces and parts to a TXV, okay? This one's in a 27.5 ton Trane. 2 compressors, but they run tandem, so there's only one expansion valve. If you can imagine how big that suction line is going to the Medusa head, man, it's pretty big, okay? What does an expansion valve do? It takes your high pressure liquid, turns it to a low pressure gas, and with each different refrigerant there is a temperature associated with each pressure. So when you take that high pressure down to a low pressure, it takes the temperature from a high temperature to a low temperature, okay? That's the bare basics. I got the wrong thing here to show you what I was going to do. So this is going to be a part 1 of part 2 intro. Just give me a second, I'll be right back. I'm back. All right, got the right stuff now. All right, some of these bottles got different settings on the nozzles. That other one didn't. This one does. But basically, I'm gonna give you a quick little rundown of what a TXV does. This is so simply put, okay? This does not talk about all the physics and chemistry and science crap that goes behind it, because there's a lot of that involved. Your spring tensions, the size of your power head, your external equalizer, sensing bulb, all this stuff is very, very, very specifically designed for the tonnage and the refrigerant, the pressures, and all that stuff being used. But basically, your high pressure liquid comes in. I don't know if this is going to show very well. All right, let's watch it here on the concrete as a stream. Okay, high pressure liquid. And then once it goes through the valve, it comes out as a spray. That's what flashing is. Flashing turns your high pressure liquid into low pressure gas by basically spraying it. Anyway, that's stupid. Maybe I didn't even tell you that. I don't know. You know now. Okay, here's how you take one apart and put the thing back together. Enjoy. Catch you on the next one, or I'll catch you on this one, and then I'll do another whatever, just to watch the video. What's up, people? So today what we're gonna do is I'm gonna learn you how to rebuild a thermostatic expansion valve. I know it's a TXV, okay? This one is in a 27.5 ton Trane RTU. Why do we want to just rebuild it instead of replace it? It's easier to replace it. Look at this. This suction line right here is flipping huge. All right. And it would take 2 number 2 head tip torches or a rosebud, something just stupid to take. So why, if we can do it some other way, why wouldn't we? Okay, number 1, replace all the guts. The body doesn't matter, it's just the body. It just holds the guts. The guts are what do the job, right? So the parts of your expansion valve, your power head, then you got your valve body. And then inside this valve body, there is a piston and a spring. And the spring will be pushing back and forth, allowing more or less refrigerant to come through and turn that high pressure liquid into a low pressure gas. That is done through the sensing bulb, which is mounted onto the suction line at the 10 o'clock or the 2 o'clock position. In a refrigeration setting, this is stupid easy, because all you got to do is pump it down, and then you can replace your valve however you want. It's a lot easier to unsolder those and put them back on. But in the AC setting, in the RTU setting, most RTUs you can't pump down. Now, should you choose to go the route of soldering and getting this thing all boiling hot, you need to put a towel over the power head or remove the power head. One of the two things needs to happen, okay? Because if you get this power head too hot, she ain't gonna work, okay? There's some loud things going on. All right, we're at the airport, a small airport in Addison. Anyway, this thing is pretty big for an RTU. So I did one yesterday. We're gonna let Erso do one today, and I will show the process as we're doing it. So we're gonna let him get his hands dirty and go through this thing. All right, so the first thing is you're gonna pull the valve body off. You're gonna pull the power head off. Let's get the power head first. But why are we doing the power head first? Because you don't need all the extra crap falling out, okay? Make sure you have a backer. That suction line is big enough, it can probably take a whole lot of torque, but you know, at the same time, we don't want to warp it. So while he's doing that and removing those things, I'm going to show you what the new one looks like in 1 second. So over here, I've already loosened these up. So let me get this thing back on my head. All right, as I was saying, now first of all, do you have to buy a whole TXV to replace the guts? No, you can buy rebuild kits. They bought this. I came out here and I was like, no, we're not doing that. This is too much. All right, can we do it if we had to? Sure. Do I want to? No. Why do extra work when you don't have to do extra work? There's no point. Let's make it make sense. All right, so right here, this one removes this is just the cap. That's your adjustment knob. You should not have to adjust your expansion valve. If you have to adjust it, it's almost like a band-aid. Okay, you're putting a band-aid on it, you're making your little adjustments until you can get you a new one in, or some new guts in. Okay, this is what's holding in the piston on one side, and this is our power head, which has our sensing bulb on it. Like I said, I've already loosened this, so we can go ahead and pop this off. It'll be the last thing we put on. There's a big piston in here. Okay, what's inside this head is controlled by the pressure that's given based on, number one, our sensing bulb, and number two, our external equalizer, which is this right here. External equalizer connects into the suction line. So this it determines its position based on suction pressure and based on suction temperature. Very sciencey or whatever. Anyhow, once that side's off, this piston is actually connected to the spring on the other side. So we take the entire valve body apart. Let me go ahead and put this on a little bit so it doesn't just fall all willy-nilly. And there's gonna be a lot of turns in this thing. You can see the piston starting to go in because it's releasing that spring. The piston's gone now. It's flush. And all right, there's your orifice. Your flashing occurs right here. This will back off or come forward. This piece will come out. There's no reason to take it out. There's a spring inside there. and there's a little boot on the bottom of the spring that the spring sits into. If it happens to fall out, I'll show you. I don't like putting them back in. How about that? Now this is the harder part, is getting that out. So that is your internal spring. It's held on by a compression clip or a C clip. And what did we use last time?
Allen wrench.
Oh, an Allen wrench. So basically you're going to take this piston and push it in until the spring falls out of the other side. It's not going to come out in pieces. If it does come out in pieces, you got a bad one to begin with. So we're using a little Allen wrench here, but we need a smaller one. There we go. We're just going to push the piston in until you don't have any more tension, and then it should fall out of the other side. That's it. Okay, there's nothing else to this. The rest of this is just valve body. If your valve body's not warped, we don't have to replace the dang thing. So we get that one apart?
Yes.
All right, we got it apart. We're ready to put this new one back together. You can use, I would not use Teflon, but if you wanted to use Nylog sealant, you could use some Nylog on it. But I'm going to show you this, putting this back together here. First thing that's going to go in is this piston, and this is the hardest thing to get in. So get you a little set of needle nose. Oh, we still got our old one in here. Let me get the old one out. Now you might be asking, what causes these expansion valves to go bad? Well, number one, this is a 410A unit. The 410A oil logs like crazy, which reminds me, we need to use the nitrogen before we do this. So we're going to blow this out with nitrogen first to get the oil out of it. You can always tell if your evaporator is oil logged by pulling a vacuum. When you pull a vacuum, put your little satellite dish up to the evaporator. If you hear gurgling, well, you got problems, okay? Gurgling is no bueno. So yesterday when we did this, oil got all over my glasses, all over my face, all over my shirt, all over my hand, all over my everything. But it's probably going to happen again, so whatever. Little Dawn will take care of that. First thing I want to do is blow out the inside of this valve body. Got a whole bunch of oil coming out of there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the end of this onto my external equalizer spot, and we're going to blow directly into the expansion valve, and this is where we'll have the most success on releasing oil. So what I'm doing is I'm building pressure and then letting it release. That'll get the oil that is settling to come out. And there's no oil in this one.
There's no oil?
Yeah, there's oil in the valve body, but that's it. So we're gonna blow the valve body out one more time. I wish y'all could have seen this yesterday, man. There was oil spraying out all over the place. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Let's get this one more time. All right. I would call that a bueno job there. And give me a little towel on my finger, clean out the inside of this, make sure the threads are clear. And that's surprising to me that there wasn't that much oil. Sometimes it'll accumulate in this tube, in which case you can just angle it down and there's nothing coming out of that. So we're clear. Oil clear. There wasn't no oil in that thing.
I don't know why the other one, I think.
Yeah, the last one we did had some super oil. It wasn't kind of oil, it was super oil.
TXV was really bad.
So, like I said, that's common at 410. 410, if your evaporator gets oil logged, you're going to have some problems. Don't just replace the expansion valve and think that's going to fix everything, because it ain't. This is, like I said, the hardest part is fishing this thing back into its home, and it is there now. Hopefully y'all saw that. You can see that in there, and then on the other side the piston's coming out. The piston's not coming out, so let me push on it a little bit more. Alright, the piston's not going to come out until I put pressure on the other side, which is what the next thing is right here. And like I said, this is what flashes. Inside here is a spring, so this does have give, and that spring tension is controlled by your adjustment on the back side, which, like I said, you should not ever have to adjust. If you do, time to look into replacing these guts. All right, we're threading. You want to get it tight, okay? This thing's gonna be running high pressure. It's 410. 410 runs high pressure. Everybody knows that. So once this is hand tight, which it is now, you will be able to see the piston sticking out of this side. And then the power head is what pushes that piston in and makes cool stuff happen. Literally cool stuff. Get it? Makes cool stuff happen? Because it's an air conditioner? Okay, so it wasn't that funny. It was worth a shot, okay? Now this brings me to another point here. This power head is huge, okay? So it's got a big enough base for a normal wrench. If you're doing refrigeration, the power head is not that big, and it takes a special wrench to actually get it off. And that wrench is nothing but a normal crescent wrench, but the ends are shaved down. Okay, that one's on. And then I'm going to leave the adjustment knob a little bit loose. Let me turn this around. Okay, she ain't leaking. All right, there's those two. Here's your Allen wrench. I'm gonna lose that thing. We'll take our old pieces. So that's one cause is oil. The other cause of an expansion valve going bad, especially in a 410 unit, is this spring starts losing its springiness. What, I don't know. It's easier to push in. Okay, that's another thing. There's a spring inside here. This one's pretty stout. We'll take this one apart. So there's that spring. And then there's the boot that the spring fits into. Okay, this cone, well, there's a cone inside that fits right into it. That's what pushes. We push this in when you make your adjustment, and it tightens the spring, which then adjusts your rate of expansion. This thing's all black, nasty. We did recover, so typically on a 410 unit, I don't want to use the same refrigerant if I'm replacing an expansion valve, because if there was trash in the system, then, well, you want to get the trash out of the system, you know? We don't want the same stuff in there. The other thing is to make sure and mention is that a lot of expansion valves have a screen. This one does have a screen. Okay, you do you. This screen's pretty large and in charge. Okay, there's no doing anything with that, and it's going to take a lot. It's going to take something huge to get stuck in that screen. In refrigeration, the screen is small, very, very, very tiny holes, and this is another you do you moment. All right, if you want to keep that in there, keep it in there. Your boy, I tend to take them out. I know. Go ahead and talk your trash, okay? Talk your trash. I take the dang things out because that is the first place something's going to clog. If the screen had larger holes in it, it'd be great. Man, you could barely see through some of these things. Like, you're asking for oil and refrigerant, and, you know, even if it's clean, it's not hard for something to get stuck in there. And as soon as one thing does, man, that thing's stuck forever. Or you could take the screen out, pull a good vacuum, put fresh refrigerant in there, make sure the system's flushed, make sure it's clean, get a new dryer on the thing, and you don't have to worry about that issue. Now, if something does make it past the screen, it's gonna make it through the orifice. You know, it's gonna go flashing, it's gonna run through the system. It's minuscule and minute, tiny, probably gonna get caught in the filter dryer. I don't think I have anything else for you today. I just wanted to show you how to rebuild an expansion valve. There are several different types of expansion valves out there. This is a mechanical expansion valve. There are EEVs, or electronic expansion valves. I don't like them, okay? You're telling me that some computer temperature probe, blah, 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 isn't gonna mess up. Every time I've had to deal with an EEV, and I've had plenty of experience with them on the Heatcraft Beacon refrigeration systems, what I usually do is when I order one probe, I order all of them twice. So they have 2 or 3 probes, one for the roof, one for the inside the evaporator coil, and one for the actual thermostat, one for the suction line. Order all of them. Have a couple of them on site all the time, because the probes are the biggest things that happen with those. They start reading the wrong temperatures, your evaporator freezes up, or quite the opposite, the evaporator's too warm, it's flooding back to the compressor. You got bad stuff, okay? Want to see the roof? Let's see the roof. Let's look at the roof. We got RTU, RTU, RTU. Lots of RTUs. They're all Tranes. We're looking into replacing every single one of them, and since we're at an airport, that's gonna happen in like one day in the morning. Like it's gonna be super great. They're not extremely old, so if you're in the market, you're looking for a 25 to 35 ton Trane RTU that runs VAVs, so it's got a variable speed blower motor. Hey, the only issues we've had with these are bearings and expansion valves. Now this is probably the 4th expansion valve that we've had to rebuild on this roof. I know we're fixing to switch refrigerants, so I think one of the biggest issues, we can't find anything's going to run 410, which I'm okay with. I haven't had any experience with a new refrigerant. I don't know if it has a history of oil logging. I probably should get on the computer and do some goobering and see what it says. But that's it. There's nothing much more to this roof. RTU, RTU, RTU. I got 6 of them. Little mini split here, little LG guy. Got a cancer maker. Look, one cancer maker fell down. And what'd they do? They just put a new cancer maker up. Instead of taking the old one, flipping back upright, putting a dish back on it, they just said, nah, I'll just give you a brand new one for twice the price. I don't know why they couldn't just pick this thing up off the ground. It's not bent. No, it's just laying here now. I don't know. Like, it's a good pole. I could use this at the house. This could be my flagpole. I may have to get this thing off the roof. Yeah, that'd be a good stout flagpole. Huh. I wish it reduced. It does come apart. I'm gonna have to ponder this one. Let me see if that's a stout pole, man. That thing. Huh. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Another thing we've done on this roof, I remember now, we had to replace one compressor. I'm gonna tell you what, people, these compressors are about 80 kabillion pounds. That's right, maybe 82 kabillion. They are flipping heavy. I was gonna take this one home, cut it open, because it's grounded out. I was gonna cut it open and show y'all what this big old puppy looks like. But your boy ain't gonna do that unless I throw it off the side of the roof, and I can't do that. I know it doesn't look this big in the picture, but my goodness, it's so heavy. We just put it on a piece of roofing material and left it here. This is stupid heavy. Stupid heavy. So, there's no core return on that. Ain't no reason to get it off this roof right now. But it would take a serious act of muscles to get that on the roof. To get the new one on the roof was absolutely horrible. Couldn't use a crane because we're at the airport, okay? You have to go like permits and planning and all kinds of extra crap for a crane at the airport. They probably make you do it like 3 in the morning when no one's flying, because I think they have to shut down the airfield for incoming and outgoing flights when you got a crane in the air. Granted, it would only be in the air for about 5 minutes, but it's just the safety things that they do. So I'm gonna get back over here with Ernso, help him out. We're gonna move on with our day. And that's all I got for you, people. Hope you learned something. If you did, great. Shoot your boy a sub. Yeah, or don't, or whatever. Until next time, deuces.